Hello, everyone, and welcome to the League Review. I'm your host, William, and today we're going to be talking about the LCK. Um, if you're wondering why we are starting an hour and 10 minutes late, that would be because I had I'm going to lock my door real quick, but I had my mouth right here went a little numb, and I don't know why. And I was like, am I having a stroke? What is going on? I don't know. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of watch it and just sit here and make sure everything's okay. I haven't had any other side effects. I can smile. Jeez. I could do all that. My face isn't drooping, so that's good. But yeah, it was just a little bit of a scare there for the last. I believe this happened at about 9:20 ish. So yeah, that it's like okay, let's delay the podcast a little bit, but did still want to do it today for LCK, and we're gonna start right away with, as always, with the transactions from the off season. Luckily for the LCK, that was less than even NA had. First up was Gen G, where they had Kuzin, Rich, and Asper join. Kuzin and Rich are both two mid laners. They're replacing Fly, and Asper is a support for Gen G. None of these are very big moves, as you can probably tell. Hanwha had Clever and Asper leave. Neither of these were starters for their team. Also not that big of a deal. And the last move, as you can already tell, we are 10 seconds in and we're already done with the moves. The biggest move of the season, the only move of the season really, is Prey comes out of retirement for KT Rolster. And KT might be finally saved. I think this will help them greatly. I don't think it'll be enough necessarily to help them win anything, but this is going to be a huge upgrade for them. And I am instead of Gango in the bot lane, and I'm looking forward to see it. Let's That's all the moves that were made in LCK. There really wasn't much, as I said. So let's go over my preseason power rankings. I forgot to put that part in here. Power rankings, and then let's move that like that, and that, and that. There we go. And so my first one is SKT, obviously, the team that went to MSI, 3-0 Griffin in the finals last year, and definitely looked like the strongest team coming out of Korea. They did have a disappointing MSI where they did get eliminated to G2 in a 5-game series and finish in the third/fourth place. And so that wasn't very good. But they did, before that, they were looking pretty strong, and I think that they will be okay. Obviously, as we said, there is no changes in the LCK outside of Prey joining that are serious enough. So pretty much what we saw in Spring Split should be kind of similar to what we see now. Um, so I have SKT number one. I think Griffin is number two. Did you get my links? Did you send them on Twitch? I will have to check them in a second. I did not see them. Sorry for being late, y'all. I don't know if you're here, but my lip was numb, so I was scared I was having a stroke or something. So I was kind of testing the waters to make sure everything was okay with me for the last 2 hours just now. Half of my lip was completely numb. And it just appeared out of nowhere. If you sent them on Twitch, I will get them because I wasn't looking at that at the time. Yes, I see them. I see them now. I will get them after the podcast. um. So next was number two was Griffin. I would have loved to put Griffin at number one, but they did not deserve it after their performance in the finals, and that was the last time and only time we saw them in the playoffs. This is kind of a worrying trend. As of last year, they kind of got wrecked in the playoffs as well, and then eventually lost in the gauntlet to Gen G. And that wasn't getting wrecked; that was a really close match. But in the finals before that, they got wrecked, and they got wrecked again. And we're sitting here starting to wonder, does this team choke? Is this team just a regular season team? And it kind of worries me. They still have all fantastic players. Everyone's coming back. No one else has really improved, like we said before, so they should still be the number two team coming in, but they really need to prove it to me in the playoffs this year. No matter how good they do in the regular season, even if they're first place, and it depends if they're blowing out SKT or not. But if they are, then maybe I give them benefit of doubt. But if they're struggling against SKT, maybe drop a game or just play really close against them, then I really think that Griffin should definitely belong in the number two spot, but we can't promise. They'll probably make Worlds, So I wonder if it's just a regular season, like regular playoff split domestically, or if it's going to translate into Worlds, because this team's definitely probably going to be the team that makes it on points, barring an upset on the year. The team that could upset them, though, honestly, is Kingzone. Kingzone had a phenomenal end to the regular season last year. I think it's definitely for real with Deft as their ADC. I think that he pretty much was the best player in the league last year, or last split. I always say last year, but last split, and I think that they will definitely be a-okay, and they should be the number 3 team looking in. Not maybe the favorite like SKT, but definitely a team that wouldn't shock me if they won it. They won the summer split. Number 4, I have Damwon. I think that they are a pretty solid team as well. I think with the addition of Flame and Nogri, they've improved vastly. And I think Flame really helped Nogri kind of stabilize a bit and not be as nuclear as he can be, where he's literally enting or popping off. Number 3. Oh, you'd put Griffin at number 3 instead of Kingzone. Idol said I'll put number 3 because Kingzone figured them out. That's not a bad analysis either. I think that Kingzone can definitely. They're a smart team. They're smart and they're pretty good. Like they started out really bad, but once they got those like cuz in them, like once they figured out those nerves, like they looked really strong, especially on the Rek'Sai. Like the Rek'Sai was like a free win for Kingzone every time. But yeah, I think Damwon also is a pretty solid team at number 4. I've moved KT up to number 5. I'm worried about this. This is my boldest prediction of the season so far, and I have KT. I think KT with Prey. I always believed in KT last year down to the very end. I thought they were not nearly as bad as Afrika and Genji. I thought they were the best of the bottom 4 teams, and they weren't. Like, just to be flat out honest, they weren't the best at all, and KT just. I think with Prey, they will definitely be better again. Hopefully, he just has a little bit of rust, not too much, because I really want to see this team succeed, especially with seeing Prey again. I want to see this team make a splash in playoffs at least. I think they can. I'm just worried that they won't. Hanwha at number 6. Hanwha Life always gets number 6, so I feel like that putting them number 6 is the safest bet I've ever had. Yeah. That pretty much I kind of put them there because they finished 6th last year. They finished 6th every year, and I'm like, that sounds about right. They're the team that absolutely cannot beat the teams above them, but they can absolutely crush the teams below them. Sandbox number 7 is actually one of my bolder predictions as well. They had a fantastic beginning of the year. Actually, were the first team to take a game off of Griffin, and they were also the first team to they were up there until the very end, honestly, and I think that shocked a lot of people. A lot of people like myself had them in 8th or 9th place coming in at the beginning of the year or beginning of the split last year. Last split. I'm always gonna do that. Always gonna do that. But yeah, I think that they kind of got figured out a bit towards the end there, and that it worries me. They kind of worked weaker and weaker as the season went on. I think the early game flexing around helped them a lot more than the other teams, and I think once teams figured out that this certain champion plays they play better here, they play better here, that they started to open up some weaknesses in the team, and I think that they will be on the weaker end this year. I think it was more of a what's the word I'm looking? More of a just flash in the pan for Sandbox. Personally, could be completely wrong. They could be great this year as well, but that's what I think. Genji, number 8, made a tiny improvement in mid lane, not much. The fly was absolutely terrible last year, so anything is an improvement for that. We'll see how it goes. I don't think the additions that they made of, I don't even remember them, Kuzan and Rich are going to be enough for them to improve greatly, and I think that they will be towards the bottom of the standings like last year. Afrika as well, no improvements. They just were a mess completely all of last year. Even though they had 10 players, no one was playing except for Keen. Keen was just stuck in Elo Hell with 2 teams basically, and Afrika lost to Jin Air. And if you lose to Jin Air, you kind of lose all my respect. They were the only team to lose to Jin Air in the best of 3. And speaking of Jin Air, they are number 10. I know everyone wanted Jin Air back because of tradition and LCK, and they've always been in the LCK. I didn't want Jenner back. I'm just gonna come out and say it. But I guess I can't say that because the teams that lost to Jenner, if you lose to Jenner, I don't really want to see you in the league either. But Jenner just played so boring last year. They literally gave up every single game pretty much. For the most part, I believe they won 4 games last year in total, not just 4 series, just 4 games. And uh, they just every single series would start the same way, where Jenner would maybe get a first blood, or they wouldn't. They would go aggressive for the first blood, die, then stop being aggressive because they died, and then they would roll over and die, and then die again, and then just try and defend the base, but they've already rolled over for too much, and they've lost too much, so they die and lose the game. Pretty much how every single Jenner game went last year, and I expect the same this year. Hopefully they improve a little bit. You can't be much worse than 4 wins. It's very tough. You have to either be 3-2 or 1 win, and or 0. That would be even worse. But I think that they will still be 10th place and will be having to fight for relegation again. With that, let me go over my predictions. Sorry, it's going to be a short podcast. Again, I had the little health scare, so I think it was nothing. I think it was just my everything feels fine. It's starting to get feeling back there, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's the health scares, man. Obviously, I'm not the healthiest. I need to get healthier. I need to start losing weight, but yeah, it scared me a bit. All right, let's go to the thing here. First up, they don't have the games here. I just realized. Never mind. We're just gonna go. I wrote the games down over here. First up, we have KT versus Jenner, the most thrilling start of the season you can ever have for LCK. These two teams, absolutely monsters, as they can both beat G2, the MSI champions. I'm glad they weren't there at Worlds or MSI. But yeah, I think KT takes this one 2-0. I think KT is a much better team with the improvement of Prey. Even before they had Prey, I would still take them 2 over Jenner. I think that Jenner will start this season off weak again with an 0-2 start and 0-4 in games. Spoiler alert for my next pick. Oops, sorry for hitting the mic. KT 2-0. I gotta fix that thing. Next, we have Damwon Gaming versus Gen G. I have Damwon Gaming taking this game from Gen G. Again, I don't think their improvements of Kuzin and Rich in the mid lane is enough for Gen G. And Asper as the support, I don't think that really does a whole lot for the organization. I think that they're still going to be a bottom tier team, which is so weird to say after them being the defending world champions last year. And like just all this, I expect such great things from the Samsung organization, but it's not to be this year. I think that Damwon Gaming starts the year with a 2-1 victory. They will drop a game because Nagri will end hard enough in the top lane one time, and then they'll bring in Flame for game 2 or for game 3, and then they'll win. Hanwha Life versus Sandbox Gaming. I actually have Hanwha Life winning this game. It's just because I have Hanwha Life above Sandbox Gaming, and they always beat the teams that they're above. So it really all depends if the Sandbox is the team that showed up last year, the team that I think will show up this year. If it's a team that shows up last year, they're going to win this one 2-0 to 2-1. But I think that it will be a different team that will be much lower ranked than this one. And because they're lower ranked, Hanwha Life will be the superior team in this game. 2-1 Hanwha Life. Griffin versus Afrika. I think that Griffin should be able to handle this very well. I think Afrika is one of the worst teams in the league. Even though they have 10 people, it's not very good people for the most part outside of Keen. And I think that I think Afrika will have a better year than they had last year, but I don't think it'll be enough to take down Griffin. I think Griffin starts a solid 2-0 against Afrika. Sorry for doing this fast, but you understand. SKT versus Jenner, that I don't even need to analyze that. There's no MSI hangover that will have Jenner. I know I should never make a bet like this, but if SKT loses to Jenner, like I will like eat my hat or something. I don't know. It will not happen. There's no way. But some people would say the same thing about Team Liquid beating IG. But yeah, it won't happen. Don't hold me to that, please. Kingzone versus Gen G. I picked Kingzone to win 2-0 there as well. I think that, like I said, I think Kingzone is a very strong team. Definitely one of the top 3 favorites to win it all this summer split, and I think that Gen G is in the bottom 3 or one of the favorites to be in relegation. So it's simple as that. Series 7, I have KT over Helmut Life, actually. I think that I'm really excited for Prey coming back. He may be rusty, but I just think Prey is such a phenomenal ADC that I think that this KT team score, they still have score, they still have Smeb. Like, maybe it was just a fluke. Maybe I'm talking like 100 Thieves, like on NA. Maybe it was just a complete fluke, and that this team is actually pretty good and better than what they have shown before, or they showed in the spring split. Maybe they're gonna return more to form of the favorites to win worlds, literally in November outside of IG. BDD, I believe BDD is still with Kingzone, but I can check that for you. Uh, where's my mouse? Don't know. There it is. Yeah, I'll check that. But yeah, I think this KT team can be really, really good. Kingzone. Let's turn this up. BDD is former. Yes, he is. He's on KT. Oh, he was on KT last year. Yeah, or last split. Was he on loan? Maybe. Is that why? BDD is still on KT as well. They do have Gengo as well. Yeah, I still think Kings will win 2-0. Next, we have KT over Helmut Life. I already said that. That was what I had as a 2-1. 2-1. And then I have Griffin over Damwon Gaming. I think that Damwon Gaming has a very big like ghost, or they're not good against Griffin. They've always been bad against Griffin. As I've learned this as a last split, that even in the promotional term, like the Challenger League, they always lost to Griffin, even in the Challenger League, and that's not a good thing. So I think that Griffin should be able to take this one easy 2-0 as well. Griffin will start out the season strong, just like last year. I think. I'm not as bold as I was on NA, because I think that LCK is a little bit more predictable than NA is, personally. I think NA is what they call Clown Fiesta. And LCK, I think you can predict it a little better. Though last year I started out LCK at a solid 4-6 back-to-back first 2 weeks. So let's hope that doesn't happen again, at least. Next, we have Kingzone over Sandbox Gaming. I think that Kingzone, again, I think the Sandbox will be much weaker this year. Is my bold prediction of Summer Split is that KT will be good and Sandbox will be bad. Just remember that. And I think Kingzone, like I said before, is a top team, so they should be able to handle this bad team in Sandbox at 2-1. And finally, series number 10, we have SKT over Afrika. I think SKT is starting out the season with the most favorable schedule you can imagine, with Afrika and Jin Air. That is about as easy as it gets. If you have any MSI hangover, like possibly Team Liquid, I believe, and all the others, that this is the schedule you want to open up for. This is what cures your hangover very well without letting you drop any games early. I think SKT will start the season 4-0 with a 2 series win and 4 straight victories in game. And with that will be our podcast. I know it's a short one; it's only 20 minutes this time, but you know. I want to thank you guys for coming to watch. Sorry it's so late, but we should be back at a normal time tomorrow as long as I'm feeling better. That should be I'm starting to get feeling back a little bit, but thank you guys for coming to watch. Tomorrow we'll do LMS, and then Thursday we will do LEC, and then Friday we will do all the wildcard regions. And that one's going to be a long podcast. I'm trying to break it down to be like under an hour, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. We'll find out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night. And Yadal, I will check out that stream. Thank you for that. Or that YouTube link.